Micah, where do you begin to process a loss like this when you have a weekend to think about a frustrating home setback against Northern Illinois?
Yeah, it's a tough situation. You never want to jump to conclusions immediately after the game. It's good to take a step back, just reflect on personally on your game, how you played, and then just overall as a group. Being a captain, being a leader, I take responsibility on the game and just making sure that we're ready to play and ready to just play like I know we can.
I think part of the disappointment was how awesome the Hawaii performance was, juxtaposed with this one after a bye week. So what were some of the major differences in your mind between those two performances?
Between those two, I think the biggest things were penalties. Penalties stalled our drives this week against Hawaii. We were able to move the ball consistently and put points up on the board, but this week we weren't able to do that, and it just put us in tough situations. Our defense was playing their heart out and giving us the ball back plenty of times, and it was just a tough situation to not be able to score touchdowns.
It's no secret that Northern Illinois has a much stronger defense than a team like Hawaii. So when you look at the film, where do you feel like it all went wrong in terms of execution?
It's hard to pick one thing, but I felt like we shot ourselves in the foot a lot, where we were able to put a lot of positive plays together, and then once we started getting close to the red zone, we had a false start, we had a delay of game, and then it's 1st and 20, and we're digging ourselves out of this hole. And we always talk about playing ahead of the chains, never get behind the chains, and we just didn't do that. We didn't do that this weekend.
What's the conversation like in the receivers room about what you guys can do to help the offense right now?
One thing we always talk about is just doing our part, and if we do our part, and then that'll kind of bring others with us, and just make sure everybody just rises to the occasion, rises to the level to just play their hearts out, play consistent, and make the plays when your number's called.
How much more do you feel like the receivers can do right now, especially in the pass game?
I feel like we've been doing a pretty decent job so far. The past few weeks. I don't think we've had any major drops. Some few tough catches that we know we can make. That I'm sure guys will hit themselves in the head about. But other than that, I feel like we've done a good job, and we're just here to do what our coaches ask from us. We obviously would want the ball every play. That's just how receivers are. But we have a great running attack as well with Squally, Katoa, Riley, Matt Hadley. We have a lot of great backs, and we'll be able to stay balanced, I think.
A midseason quarterback change is always a difficult thing for a team to have to go through. You've now played 2 games with Zach Wilson. How do you feel like the receivers are meshing with a guy like Zach Wilson, who is still a true freshman?
I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job. Zach's the type of guy that always wants to, get extra work in. I think back to the summer where there were so many times at night where we're all just up here throwing outside. And before his start against Hawaii, I just kind of looked at him and I was like, hey, this is just like the summer. Like, we're just out here playing catch. And I feel like we've meshed really well with him. He's a young guy, but he's mature by the way he acts and by the way he carries himself.
He looks a lot younger than he is, though, right? Do you guys give him a hard time about the baby face?
Yeah, I do. I used to mess with him and call him Zac Efron from High School Musical, but I let him slide a little bit now.
As a former high school quarterback, did you ever have a play like he had? That was unbelievable. The hurdle and then the stiff arm in the air. That was awesome. I know you wanted more touchdowns, but that was awesome, dude.
No, yeah, that was a nice play, and I was on the field while it happened, and when we were in the huddle, I kind of looked at other guys like, wow, like he really did that. But yeah, back in high school, probably not a play like that, not a hurdle.
Just a stiff arm, not a hurdle.
You were running for 90-yard touchdowns.
99.
Okay. I want to slide.
Was that in the state title game, the 99-yarder?
Yeah, that was.
Not bad.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Who needs a hurdle and a stiff arm when you can run for 99?
Touchdown, Micah. You just one-upped Zach. Congratulations.
If you have a shot, will you hurdle somebody and stiff arm in the air at some point just to equal that?
No, not just to equal it. I'll do a front flip.
Oh, okay. Instinctually.
Into the end zone.
Into the end zone. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I like it. Micah Simon calling a shot. You now have to, not have to, but get to go play Boise State, another team that's on the cusp of the rankings. They're coming off a big offensive performance. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Boise State football?
With Boise, they're always a consistent team. You know, they're reaching, you know, always 9-10 win seasons every year, and you know, they do a great job every year. You know, those guys are always ready to play, and I'm looking forward to going to play there. You know, one, great team, but two, blue turf.
Now, you mentioned...
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't think of the blue turf first?
Okay, so throw that in there.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word consistency, which is what Kalani Sitake said has been the biggest issue, is a lack of consistency week to week. Great, premeditated, going towards Arizona, towards Wisconsin. How do you kind of get that mojo back when you have to go on the road again where you've had success and play another good team?
Yeah, I think it'll start in practice this week. Just, you know, finding what we do best and putting that in the game plan for us to be confident to go out there and play our hearts out and just play for one another. And then once we do that, then I feel like we have a big chance to be successful.
How can this team win without running the ball effectively? Because there's been this stark difference. If you rush for fewer than 100, you lose. If you rush for 150-plus, you win. So if the run game's not there, how does this team win?
I think without the run game, you know, it puts us in maybe, you know, tough situations for third down, you know, maybe third and long, and those are never high percentage plays, you know. It doesn't matter what team you are. So, you know, we just have to be able to overcome those situations and just trust in one another that, yeah, the line will protect, give the quarterback enough time to make his read, and then as receivers we have to do our job to be open and make the plays.
More jet sweeps for Micah Simon.
Yeah, more jet sweeps. That's the answer. You didn't say that.
No Jets.
No Jets? Not a fan?
Nah, I'm just kidding. I like the Jets. I just say that Aleva is the best at the Jets.
He's good, right?
So just let him keep doing it.
He stops on a dime. He's awesome at it.
Yeah, I tried to cut up one field like him, and I went to the side, and I was like, how do you do that?
I love the honesty and the clarity from Micah Simon. And in all seriousness, we appreciate that you come out here as a captain and have to do these hard interviews because it's not easy when you lose a game that you feel like you should have won. So
let's give you the karma.
Kudos to you and some karma, man.
For a front flip at Boise State.
Okay, appreciate that.
Now make sure that the defender's near you, because if he's not and you do it, that's going to be a penalty.
That is true. That is true.
All important things
that's important.
being discussed.
That's important.
Thanks, Micah.
Appreciate you guys.